Hey, look at that, a passcode door. Suppose I should go unlock it. There we go. Hey, and welcome back to Vex Productions. Today, I'm going to show you how to do a passcode mechanic. Now, not many people have covered this. I believe Richie Tunes has made a tutorial on this, but I've been asked multiple times by multiple people to give a tutorial on this, so that is what I'm doing. So basically what you want to have is you obviously want to have a door. Second thing is you're going to want to have a lock device. This actually, if you didn't know, enables, well, essentially unlocks and locks the door. So if you set it right up here next to this door, you have this wonderful lock device that will actually unlock and lock this door via channels and triggers. So the third thing you're going to need is buttons, which will actually, serve as the thing you have to type on. Finally, the fourth thing you're going to need is triggers right here. Obviously, you can't just, because there has to be a passcode, these all have to be enabled at first. There's another sort of thing going on behind the fact that you're typing these, if that makes sense. If it makes sense to you, these buttons essentially are going to trigger on channels, right? So this is going to be an incorrect one. You do not want to press this, okay? And I'll show you the system of events that needs to happen to get this door to be opened. So the triggers are obviously invisible here because we don't want them to be able to see it. But the triggers are here, rest assured. So if you come right over here, you see that this is locked. This red means it is locked. And we have our passcode here. So for me, I set the code to be 3, and then 4, and then 7. And then if you see that turns blue, and now we can open this door. So if you come back down here, you have all of your triggers lined up. Now, you'll notice this is 7, 8, 9, and then 6, and you're wondering why it's in that system of events. It doesn't necessarily need to be like that. That is just the solution I chose. So, you have your passcode wall here, and you have your lock device here, okay? So, what you're going to want to do is have each button correspond to a trigger. Now, let me just explain how the system of events with the trigger actually works. So you'll notice here, I'll show all the invisibility stuff and settings you need later, but for now, you'll notice there's a lot of complicated channels here that is working with this. Now don't freak out because this is actually quite simple. Let me show you. So that is on channel 7. Now, obviously, our first digit is going to be 3, and 1, 2, 3, this is obviously 3. So, when you interact with this on this button, all you need is instant interaction text is going to be 3, and I just set it to be channel 3 so I don't get confused for the first part, which is fairly simple. So, you'll want to set it to when interacted with transmit on channel 3. No enable settings or disable settings. If you want to do a reset mechanic, maybe I'll make a mechanic on that, but for now, this is what you have. So, just set that to channel 3. And if you come back here, you'll notice this actually enables when receiving from channel 3. Now, once you press that channel 3, right, it's going to enable the system of events to happen, okay? Because obviously you don't just want, you want it to be a passcode. You're not just going to type, just gonna type 3 and then 4 enables and then 7 enables, because then you'll immediately know the passcode. That's not what we want. We want it to be all of them enabled, okay? So the ones you don't want to have, this is very important. So obviously 3, 4, 7, that is my code. Now you'll notice I have different channels for all 3 of these, not 150. So with the ones that do not, the ones you don't want to press, that will give you the wrong code, you want to set these to a specific channel. Sorry, that's channel 4. You'll want to set these to a specific channel, and for me, I just chose 2. And this is going to not start the system of events. This is going to tell all of those triggers to don't do that, and you're obviously going to start typing in the wrong code, because that is channel 3, so channel 2. So any of these, obviously my code is 3, 4, 7. The rest of these, you want to set them to a specific channel that will always disable the system of events. So for me, I just chose 2. Now you'll notice over here, disable when receiving from channel 2, that is because when you go to press that button, it's going to disable the trigger, the wrong one, obviously. When you start entering the wrong code, it's going to send a channel to this and tell it, do not start this system of events. So there's that, and then if you come up here, you'll notice enable when receiving from channel 3. Now, obviously I explained, our first button over here is 3, right here, and that is on channel 3. Now this enables this trigger to, start the system of events. Now at any time when you press channel 2, when you press the button that has the corresponding channel 2 with it, it's not going to work. It's going to disable this whole system. So even if you type 3, then 4, and then not 7, something else other than that, even 3 or 4 wouldn't work. That might actually glitch it out. So anytime you do not type after, like, you say you enable, you press the 3 button, then you press the 4 button, and then you do not press the 7 button, that is going to disable, because it's telling this trigger or any of these triggers to all disable this system of events and basically reset the entire thing, because that is just not gonna work. So if you go over here, you'll have obviously disable. Oh, that's not supposed to be channel 3. Okay, so yeah, on channel 2 at any time, that's gonna disable it. So trigger when receiving from channel 3, this is going to actually trigger this, this system of events at the same time while it enables it. Because if we don't have it enabling, it's just gonna show, well, if you don't have this specific one enabling, it's just gonna glitch out the whole thing. But if you don't have all of them enabling from a specific channel, the previous one, then it's not gonna be a passcode anymore. It's just gonna be button, 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 done. And that is not what you want. You want a passcode. So essentially what you're gonna do is trigger on channel 3 and enable on channel 3. It does not have to be channel 3, that's just what I chose, so I didn't get confused with my button. Now, okay, we're moving into the next step. When triggered, transmit on channel 7. Now, because we have this system of events of enable, trigger when receiving from, and when triggered, then anything is possible in Fortnite. Like, literally anything you can do with this. Because of this specific system of events and sequencers, you can do anything. So, with this passcode mechanic, you're gonna have when triggered, so when the trigger is triggered, it starts the next system of events, okay? Now, it's not gonna trigger the other one just yet, it's just going to enable the other one. Now, it's very important to have these on trigger and enable. Do not set any others to that. So you want to have one trigger transmit on channel 7, and this leads over to here. This enables when receiving from channel 7 to continue the system of events. Now it's not pressing it, it's not actually, doing anything with the codes, not moving on until it gets confirmation from another channel, which is going to be channel 4, that it is, the next correct one is pressed. So you want to have one triggered transmit on channel 8. So disable when that's not supposed to be channel 2. So disable when receiving from channel 2 and enable when receiving from channel 7. The last one was channel 7, which enables this one to be able to continue the system of events, if that makes sense. Now, disable obviously channel 2, because if you press any other one that is not the specific code, it's going to disable this whole system of events and restart the whole thing. Okay, so trigger when receiving from channel 4, is obviously the next button, which is 4, and just to not get confused, I put it on channel 4. Now this channel 4 is going to trigger this sequence essentially. So when you press the 4, it's going to, you know, send a trigger to this. This is going to trigger. It's obviously enabled at first by pressing the first key. So it's enabled, right, when receiving from channel 7, and trigger when receiving from channel 4. Okay, this is very important because if you have trigger when receiving from channel 4, this is going to enable it and it's going to screw up the whole system of events. So you want this to only enable when receiving from channel 7 and trigger when receiving from channel 4, because that is the next correct key that you're going to type. Now when you type that key, it's going to, you know, trigger when receiving from channel 4, which is going to continue this system of events and enable the next trigger. Now obviously when triggered right here, trigger when receiving from channel 4, this will trigger this trigger, but when it is triggered, it's going to transmit on channel 8. Now again, anything is possible with this system of events. So when triggered, transmit on channel 8, okay? Now this is going to trigger this next one, which is channel 9. Now the third one is 7, so it's going to enable when receiving from channel 8 because you previously typed the correct key, which is going to enable the next system of events so you can finally open that door. Now, disable when receiving from channel 2, obviously, because if you press anything incorrect other than the key you're supposed to from there, it's going to reset and just, you know, reset the entire thing and not work. So don't worry about reset times triggered. Trigger when receiving from channel 5. Now channel 5 is what I chose for channel 7, which is obviously the correct key you need to type, and you're noticing a pattern here, which is good because you're learning how to actually do this. I know it can be very confusing, but once you understand it, it is very easy to do. So when triggered, trigger when receiving from channel 5. And, you know, when you type channel 5, which is the number 7, on the button, it's going to trigger this specific trigger, which when this specific trigger is triggered, it's going to transmit on channel 8 because you've typed in the entire full code, and now, finally, this is going to transmit to this trigger. So this is going to enable when receiving from channel 8, because obviously the enable feature, which is going to enable this final thing that is going to open the door, is going to enable when you press the final key. This is also going to trigger when receiving from channel 9, and you get the idea at this point. You do not want to have this at anything other than that specific channel. So if you type something incorrect on the key, it'll disable this final trigger that's going to unlock the door, because this is just not going to work. It's going to reset the whole thing again. So trigger when receiving from channel 9 is what, you know, that past one has done, and you're starting to notice a pattern here, which is great because that means you're learning. Once you get the hang of this, you can do anything with this. So trigger when receiving from channel 9 is the previous one, which triggers, and then when this specific one is triggered, it's transmitting on channel 6. And channel 6, you may notice before, when I went to the channels over here, is the very last one, because channel 6 unlocks this door. So that's going to unlock the door, and then you now have this wonderful system of events. It doesn't have to be this exact length. It does not have to be 3 digits. It could be like 18. It could be as many as you want, as long as you do not run out of channels. If you know how to recycle channels, great, but that's not available with this mechanic. So make it as many as you want, as long as it works. So now we have this wonderful system of events, 3, 4, and 7. And now this door is unlocked. So I've been asked this a lot because I cover a lot of mechanics on my channel, and people have been asking me because, you know, it's very little known. I mean, Fortnite Creative is popular, but it's really not that popular. And if you just Google search this right now, you're gonna probably see really nothing other than how to unlock doors, which is very simple. And this is way more complicated than that. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this, because I've been requested this a lot. Very overdue mechanic, because this you could do this in season 9, to be honest. So if you want me to do more mechanics like this or tutorials on it, like the video, subscribe, and comment down below if you want me to do something. If you want me to build something, if you want me to do a tutorial on a mechanic. So yeah, I really hope this helps. Yeah, that's all I have to say. I hope you guys are able to use this and to make awesome maps with it. This has been Vex. See ya.